When it comes to what your family eats and drinks, you know your choices matter. You're the expert because you know what fits your life. And getting it right starts with good information. That's why America's beverage companies are sharing more information about our ingredients at goodtoknowfacts.org. No spin, no judgments, just the facts straight from the experts for more than 140 beverage ingredients. Visit goodtoknowfacts.org.
I'm like, hey, if you put away your phone for like 24 hours, I bet like your whole like nervous system will like be more grounded. Like you will actually feel better if you take a detox because you are consuming all this information that is your subconscious is picking up. It's running 95% of us is running on autopilot from our subconscious mind. So we are consuming unconsciously all this information that is actually creating all these insecurities and fears and limiting beliefs too, and these stories about ourselves that we're not worth it, or we're doing something wrong, or we should be doing this, or we're supposed to be doing this, or we whatever. And it's like, you know, if we could just take a break, I think that it's so healthy for our mental health.
Southwest Florida is one of the most beautiful places on the planet to live. For those of you that are thinking of moving from other states to come to Florida, or even just moving to a different part of the state, I want you to think of a big, beautiful luxury home. Contact Legacy Luxury Builders. They are a family-owned and operated luxury residential construction company. As a family-owned business, they believe in the power of building not just homes, but legacies. Contact Legacy Luxury Builders. The nightmare of feeling like you'll never measure up, of constant second guessing and self-doubt. It eats away at you and destroys your confidence. I've been there too, feeling like I didn't belong on the field with my teammates, but it doesn't have to stay that way. I used to compare myself to everyone around me. I thought that no matter how hard I worked, I'd never be as good as the other guys. It killed my self-belief. I now help athletes develop an elite mindset so comparison no longer controls them. We teach techniques to cut out the negative self-talk and unlock their full potential. Imagine stepping into the box when it counts the most and feeling totally confident in your ability, feeling invincible instead of insecure, ready to seize the opportunity instead of shrinking from it. That's the mindset I help athletes develop. Don't waste another minute on comparison and self-doubt. Take control of your mindset and become the confident, unstoppable competitor you are meant to be. DM or comment below to get started with Edge and transform your mental game. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the podcast of Determined Society. I have with me an entrepreneur, a social influencer, a podcast host, a speaker, and reality TV star, best known for her role as a castmate on the breakaway hit Netflix show Love is Blind Season 1. She has over 400,000 followers on social media, and she uses her platform and her voice to inspire others to chase life and make the most of where they are in their journey. Kelly Chase, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm jacked to have you on. I'm grateful for our friend, Kiara, a mutual friend, Kiara, introducing us and getting us where we're at right now.
Absolutely. Me too. I love connections. All about it.
Dude, it's crazy. It's crazy how everybody's just so connected, like that 1 degree of separation,
really
right? It's you just never know who you're in front of and who's in your realm and who you can network with. So it just makes it so much fun.
I agree. Totally.
So how's your day been? I know it's been a long day and we're both winding down. So talk to us.
Yeah, it's been a long day. So I work full time also on top of all the things you just mentioned.
I feel like, that,
oh
dude.
My God. But I really enjoy what I do. I actually I'm a sales rep, marketing, account manager, that type of thing, for an orthopedic company, but I work with more like attorneys, and chiropractors that work in the personal injury, motor vehicle accident, workers' comp space. So I was out driving around, meeting with all of our respective referral sources today, and just not all of them, obviously, but normally I do about 6 a day, and today I did like 12 or 13. Necessarily meet all 12 or 13, but I had to make the stops, get out of the car, walk, do the thing and knock on doors, and if they're locked, and then that was
I feel you on that one. As you know, I'm also in medical and I have other things that going on as all the other things that I'm doing as well. So I can relate to the grind, the exhaustion, but also the purpose that sits behind
Yeah.
it, right? To help others. And I just love your brand, Chase Life
Thank
with Kelly. That is
you.
really awesome. Can you talk to the audience a little bit about how that originated and just how it just really catapulted, maybe even after Love is
Yeah,
Blind?
absolutely. So I actually went through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition in 2012, graduated in 2013, and that program set me up to become like a certified holistic health coach. In that program, the last 5 or so months of the program, you're in addition to learning still the health components of everything and just educating yourself on nutrition and whatnot. They also start you. They get you prepared to like launch your own coaching business. So essentially, they're
Hmm.
like, you have to come up with a name for yourself. And I could have been like Kelly Coaching with Kelly or something, but I wanted something a little jazzier. So, ex boyfriend actually came up with my name, Chase Life. I,
That's
yeah, so I'm
cool.
like, I attribute that to him. But yeah, it just stuck, and I created, an Instagram presence. I was posting things on Instagram and Facebook. Pretty consistently um, since 2013 for the most part. And I did, once I went on Love is Blind, um, got done filming that and everything. And I just really leaned heavily into personal development. I had started probably the year before we filmed Love is Blind with the
Hmm.
personal development stuff, but really like actually worked with like a one-on-one mindset coach post filming. So that is when everything started to really go deeper with me on that journey. And now I just feel like I can add so much more value to whether it's clients or friends or family that I'm talking, anybody that I'm talking to, because I just have a different awareness of life more so. And like, really, I mean, what the mindset coaches have done for me is just really helped me have awareness into my limiting beliefs and the things that were keeping me stuck, those blind spots, and helping me see that I can actually like, okay, there's the awareness of the block. How do we move through it so that we can expand and evolve into that next level version of self that I think most of us are craving to become, but we don't know how because we're got all the limiting beliefs keeping us back. So it's been really neat to just just continue. I mean, I still study the work. I do mindset work every single day still, and I love it. And again, I just feel like the way that I show up in this world is different because of the tools and the concepts and the ideas that I have studied now and been taught, I guess, over the last 4 or 5 years since we got done filming that show. So it's been really cool.
Has it been that
Yeah, we
long?
filmed in 2018. So yeah, 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I mean, I guess so because we're, coming up on season 6 here,
Yeah,
right? So,
yeah, they're
good lord,
flying.
yeah, time flies.
It
Time
really
flies.
does, yeah. Yeah,
I'm
I just
sure.
want everybody to
I
have that, like, idea of they can really, like, become a better version of themselves and, like,
Mhm.
create a life that they really crave, so that's kind of
Right.
my 2 little taglines with Chase Life, so
Dude, I love it, man. I love it. I mean, that's what this show's about, right? It's about personal growth. It's about getting through those adverse moments and becoming a better person on the other side. And, I'm a mental performance coach, so I take mindset very seriously. And everybody has blind spots, right? Let's talk about that really quick. We have blind spots in limiting beliefs. And a lot of times, though, I would say 99.9% of the time, those blind spots are reserved for people within your life that can actually see them, right? But in your case, you were on
yeah.
camera, right? So how was that like for you watching all that? Because I mean, in this household, you were loved. Straight up, you were loved. I know you caught a lot of flack after the show, but I mean, you grew so much. But how was it seeing those quote unquote blind spots and limiting beliefs show up for the whole world to see?
Yeah, I honestly it was very challenging for me because I would speak on this too, although, Netflix didn't love this when I was like speaking my truth. But, they obviously they create a narrative and a lot of what the show did, display for us was very true to me and everything. They just spun it out there at the
Hmm.
end. But, they had filmed it in 2018 and the show aired in February of 2020. So what 16 months later about
Hmm.
that they aired the show, and I had done, like I said, I hired that mindset coach like 4 weeks, I think, after we got done filming. And I had worked with her for 4 months. I worked with other mindset coaches. I was constantly diving into like master classes after master classes, reading my own personal development books, journaling, trying to like really work through my own stuff. And so when I was watching the show back, I'm like, oh my God, like who is she? Like there's
Mhm.
like, wow. Like I felt like because I had been doing some personal development work for a year, leading up to the filming of the show, I felt kind of confident then, and that I like had like all this emotional intelligence and everything. But it's like now I have so much more awareness. And even in 2020, it was so much more awareness than I did in 2018. So it's like me
Mhm.
watching myself, it was really humbling and interesting. And then obviously, because of the narrative that they were painting about me, it was, I almost felt like I was going through like an identity like crisis in a sense, because
Mhm.
when you start going through personal development and undoing all these beliefs about yourself, you're actually kind of learning who you actually are underneath all the like veils of everyone else's opinions and thoughts and stories and beliefs, right? So it's like I was learning who I was, while the world, through watching me on television, was telling me who I was. And
Mm.
so, when I'm getting DMs or comments and I'm like, no, you don't, that's not the truth.
That's not who I
That's
am.
not who I am. Like, oh my gosh. And these people are
Right.
just attacking you. And you're like, but if they knew the real me, they see a
Mhm.
character online. And I'm like, oh my God, maybe that's why I was never a big reality TV person to begin with.
Mhm.
I just said yes to an opportunity, but I never really, like, I don't even think I've watched an entire season of any reality TV show ever, besides Line now.
Right.
But, it's wild how it really, like, although, yeah, I do all this mindset and personal development, self love work, like, how one comment can just spiral you into a deep, dark hole. And you're like, oh my God, the world hates me.
Yeah, that's hard though, Kelly, because you're sitting there in 2020, like you said, 16 to 18 months after you were done filming, this show comes
Mhm.
out, right? There's already like multiple versions of Kelly that have evolved
Yeah.
since then because of all the work that you're doing. So to go back and watch it is mortifying enough, right? Because I always believe though, if we're not embarrassed or a little bit queasy by the version of us a
Right.
year ago, we're not growing, right? I can look back at some of the first videos I've ever did on social media, or even the first shows that I recorded for my podcast. I'm like, ew, like who is that guy? I don't like
Yeah.
him. I don't like him. It's not who I am, you know. But when you're going through that, like describe to the audience that feeling because a lot of people do feel judged on a smaller
Yeah.
level,
Sure.
right? How did you cope with that? Because again, you're looking at the world is looking at and judging a woman
Mhm.
who was that in 2018. It is now
Right.
2020, right? Well, now 2023, but then 2020, it's not even the same version of you. So, how did you work through that? And how did you make sense and find the way to love
Mhm.
yourself? Because that's a lot of heat.
Yeah, it is. I mean, honestly, it was ongoing. I mean, I was still
Mhm.
experiencing the effects of it up until this year. I mean, I really was.
Damn.
Like, there were times, like, I can recognize, like, there were certain times maybe I was posting something online that, not to say it was inauthentic. I mean, I made it mine. I customized it to make it
Mhm.
mine, but maybe it was an Instagram reel or a post that was inspired by something else that I was watching. And, and a lot of people do this, and they can, and they're in their authenticity and they're in their truth about it. However, I believe the way that I was doing it was because I was getting influenced by, oh, that person got a lot of engagement on that post, I should do something
Mhm.
like it. And of course, yeah, it would get a lot of engagement, of course, because it was like a
Yeah.
trending thing or
R
whatever. And I'm like, okay, but
Right,
it
yeah.
felt, weird to me in a sense. Although it
Mhm.
like boosted my ego, but fed my ego for a minute, and then I'm like, okay, now what? Because it wasn't
That's the thing. I think we've all done something like that
yeah,
similarly, like when we start our personal brands on social media. I can remember acting in certain ways and in speech patterns that can be me, but not necessarily be what I put out there to the
right.
public. And I did it and I didn't like
Yeah.
it. And it wasn't that I was being, disingenuous, because anybody who has known me forever, and you can even ask, Kiara, like, I'm very authentic. What you see is what you get. But we're just trying to figure this thing
Right.
out, man. And I mean, I've caught heat in your comment
Mm-hmm.
section.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not even responding. This is clearly
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
bot. Like, this is
Exactly.
just somebody trolling her. And, you know, but like, how was, I mean, because you're a normal
Yeah.
person, right? And people forget that, right? And then the mental health aspect of being out there for everybody to
Yeah.
see, and then your DMs be open for business. How did that, I mean, truly, how did that impact you early on? Because I would imagine that once that show went live, your social medias, all your
Oh,
accounts
they
blew up.
did. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I had a
It's like overnight stardom,
It
right? It's
was.
like,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, if I could do it again, I would have hired people to help with social media
Yeah.
as well as like having like like an actual PR publicist. I had brand managers that I
Mhm.
was working with, but and they were fine, but having an actual like publicist to be like, do this, don't do this. Hey, you know what? They
Mhm.
created this narrative. Let's work with that narrative and like blow you up even more. Like you
Mhm.
like, take that
Yeah.
narrative and make it your own and claim it. And, but while also helping people to understand the real you and like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I just wish that I
Yeah.
had, had the financial support to be able to do something like that. I mean, I didn't. I
Yeah.
mean, yes, we got paid for the show, but like I was in debt and I was struggling paycheck to paycheck at the time when the show aired. I'm like, I don't have extra money to just throw at a PR agent and like hire this whole team of people to like help me out with this stuff. So, yeah, it affected me significantly in a lot of ways. But I actually, because I was working full time, and I wound up resigning from the company that I was working with a year after the show aired, because I was so burnt out. And again, I was not in a good space financially to leave at the time. And
Mhm.
granted, all the brand deals that were coming through, great, paid off my debt. I was like, great, we're debt
Mhm.
free finally.
Yeah.
But it still wasn't enough. Anyways, I had two panic anxiety attacks, whatever you want to call them. I had never experienced it before. I just knew that that's what it had to be. In Valentine's weekend of 2021, so a full year after the show aired, literally to the day
Mm.
that the show aired, the first episodes, I experienced. I woke up at like 6 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, Valentine weekend, and I was like heart racing. I was like, what is happening? Couldn't like calm my thoughts. And it was really frightening for me. And I took a whole week off of work and I told my parents, I was like, I mean, my parents kept saying, why don't you like let go of like your business stuff for a while? Like let go of the coaching stuff and just like,
Mhm.
if like an influencer thing comes in, then take it. But like just focus on your 9 to 5 right now, the thing that is giving you the consistent income. Although it's pennies, it is paying your bills. And I
Mhm.
was like, I can't. I literally cannot go somewhere for 40 hours straight a week right now. Like, I have been doing it
Mhm.
plus everything else for the last year. I just had these like panic attacks, nervous breakdowns. I don't know what they were. I was like, I can't. And I went back to work for like a week and a half, I think. And I was like, can't do it. And I immediately just signed off. My parents, because I spent a week with them, and I was like, I'm going to do what I feel like is in my best interest, not what you feel is in my best interest. So I quit
Mhm.
my job and I,
Sure.
I didn't work for 2 weeks. Like I didn't do coaching. I didn't do influencer stuff. I literally and I was barely on my Instagram. Like I would go on and maybe check a few things and then get off. And I would just like
Mhm.
watch TV, go for walks, sit in nature. And I cried a lot because I just held all these emotions in because I was constantly busy from when that show aired. And I just never had time to really like sit with myself. So I cried for like 2 weeks
So
straight.
yeah, no, so, like, thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that, because I want the audience to really dive into that, right? You're talking about this whole evolution of this panic attack or anxiety attack, right? And, for those of you listening, while she was trying to deal with things, she was still holding a lot of things in, right? You're holding a lot of things in, like you just said. You're going through your 9 to 5 job. You're building your brand on the side. You're taking influencer deals. Like, listen, all of us that don't have that type of, I guess, attention on us because we weren't on a reality TV show. A lot of sometimes, like, I feel like my life
Yeah.
is a freaking reality TV show. But like, we still don't have time to breathe and move
Right.
on from certain events in our lives. So I really love what you did there because, and for the audience that didn't really catch it, you went against the grain. You said pretty much to your parents, I love you, but you really don't know what I need
Right.
right now. And I'm burnt out over everything. So I'm taking 2 weeks. I'm going to cry. I'm going to walk. I'm going to be in nature. How important was that decision? Was that the inflection point in your growth right there to honor
Yeah.
Kelly and just
Yeah.
be?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
How uncomfortable was it
It
though?
wasn't it
You
was
know?
uncomfortable, but I also was like, I don't care. Like, I'm totally just surrendering, like, God will show me the way kind of
Mhm.
thing. Like, I don't know what's next. I don't even want to like promote my brand right now. Like, I didn't know what was next. And it was interesting. Yeah, that was February or the beginning of March, I guess, when I had left the job. We get our like tax return, all this money that I thought that I was going to have to owe the IRS didn't have to owe. And I was like, there you are, God. There
Praise
you
God.
are.
Hey,
You just
buddy.
saved me a little bit longer.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so
Yeah,
much, big
yeah.
guy.
So it was really
Yeah.
interesting. And granted, I don't necessarily like. I mean, even today, I was like, I do enjoy the job that I'm doing right now, but like, I always, like, there's something about the surrender and like letting go and just like being like stepping fully into the unknown. And today I was driving around and I was like, I wonder what would happen if I just was like, I'm just kind of done again. Like, I'm just done.
Mhm.
Like, because,
Yeah.
they always say too, it's like, okay, well, let go of things not serving you to create space for new things to come in. Right. So I'm like, okay, well, if something in my life is not totally serving me, and again, I was just having a moment, I was
Sure.
fine. But I'm like, okay, well, what if I just quit my job? Not that I'm going to.
Dude,
I really do
I
like it. Anyone listening, if you work with me, I really do like my job. I'm not quitting. It was just like a moment.
she's not
It was
quitting,
just a
guys.
moment.
She's
It was
not
just a
quitting.
thought that came
Yeah.
in. But I was like, it was more of like, I don't know even why the thought came in, but I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, if I was able to do that then and let go, like we just don't practice that enough. And like, we don't have
Mhm.
enough trust that something is going to come in, and then we just fear, and then everything is fear based, and then you're attracting that.
Man, that's impactful because, like, when you're talking about that, I'm, like, going through a lot of different things. I'm going through my whole
Yeah.
2023, right? Like, again, the show's great. My brand is growing. Everything's going fantastic. But at times I get into the scarcity mentality. I'm like, this isn't enough. Like, I'm behind,
Hmm.
right? And then I start playing that comparison syndrome, all the things that I tell my athletes, my clients not to do. But the reality is we're all human
Yeah.
beings. I'm not telling them these things because I'm better than them or because I'm on the top of the mountain, right? I'm telling them these things 'cause I struggle with them and I know these landmines that I want them to step
Right.
on, right? But the reality is man, like, I can't think of I mean, like, I can't think of any time in the whole 2023 where I didn't have those
Hmm.
thoughts. I mean, like, I thought to myself, well, how much further would my brand be if I just went and got about $500,000 to
Yeah.
$1 million, went out and got at an angel investor, built my brand, walked away from my W-2 job. Would I be more happy? Would I be living my purpose every day? And the reality is absolutely I would, right? But then there's another layer to it, right? 3 children, a wife that's going, wait a
Hmm.
second, you know, your brand's growing. Let's park this, do your job too. But then when the person like us, right, you're in this, there's times where you feel like, well, I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm just trapped in doing something I just don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like like I want to be out there and doing what I feel my purpose is. And I think that the most important and one of the most impactful things that you said is just trusting and letting
Yeah.
go, right? Like, I've got to let go. You have to let go. The audience has to let go of all the expectation and just pray and just understand and give God the space and time to
Right.
work.
Exactly. Yeah, because if we're constantly not doing that, not to say it's not, prayers aren't working, manifestations aren't working.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
just we just have so much fear, and the more that it's funny because like I have conversations, with my mom sometimes, and I'll be like, "Mom, you just have to like let go." I have. I'm like, "Well, if you did, then you wouldn't be having this conversation with me right now." Like, you got to trust, and like you have so much
Yeah.
faith in, there's so many people out there that, they're devout religious creatures and very much Christians, and they're like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah," but then they're like so lack-minded and so fear-based, and I'm
Hmm.
like, if you have that much trust in God, you will trust that He will provide. Like, let go and let God do His work. Like,
Yeah. And it's hard too. Like I can empathize with it, right? Because there's a lot of times where I just feel I have to force,
mhm.
force, force, force. And those are the moments where my energy level goes down. I
Yeah,
don't want to do an interview. And interviewing is my most favorite thing to
yeah,
do. Like right now I'm playing. This is
right,
fun. This is my energy, right? And also when I force things and hold on to them really, really tight, I start to
yeah,
spiral, right? My mental health gets
same.
worse. And I'm one of those individuals that has to be extremely physically
Mhm.
active in order to be really chemically
Yeah,
balanced. I'm just like, that's just who I am. And it is what it is. However, when I get super overwhelmed, the first thing to go and suffer is the gym.
hmm for
The
sure.
second thing is my nutrition. And I'll be sitting there at night. I'm just slamming chocolate. I'm like, you're gonna hate yourself in the
Yeah,
morning,
yeah.
dude. You know? So like when you're going through these things and as you're picking up on what I'm saying, what would be some of the tips that you could give these individuals that are struggling getting up out of bed and moving their body and kind of giving back to
Yeah.
themselves?
I think the biggest thing is really recognizing what your why is. That has been mine. And like, because if you don't feel like you have a purpose for doing something, then it doesn't give you that much motivation and ambition to do it. Right. I recognized, this year even that I was not like, I was starting to get like very like seeking external validation, acceptance, love, all of that. And then I kind
Mhm.
of like did an audit, and I'm like, "Oh, well, Kelly, you haven't really been working out. You haven't been like, you used to go on walks every single day, and you have not been doing that at all. You haven't even really been moving your body that much. Nutrition was like okay, but
Yeah.
something, it was all off. So you just have to get really clear with your boundaries and know that, again, I am a workaholic too. Like I said, I mean, I do a lot of things, but it is checking in with yourself in the morning, in the middle of the day, in the afternoon, in the evening, and giving yourself that, like, hey, you know what? Like, the work is going to be there tomorrow still. Like, it's okay.
Mhm.
You are more important than your job. You're more important than your husband or your wife. Like, your significant your children, even. Like, I'm going to say it. You
Mhm.
are your biggest priority. And if you are not, because everyone has a big problem with that, and they're like, that's so selfish to think about yourself and not tune into you're not tuning into your family. You are, but if you're not helping yourself, how are you going to help and serve your family? Like, you're not going to be able to show up as your best self if you're completely on empty.
Yeah, I mean, unpopular opinion, I agree with you
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like I mean, I think there's a negative connotation to the word selfish.
Right.
Selfish isn't necessarily supposed to mean like you're a piece of
Right.
crap, right? And you
Exactly.
don't care about
Right.
people. Being selfish and take care of you first and foremost, especially as, me as a husband and a father, they're not getting the best version of me the last 2
Hmm.
months because I'm not pouring into myself
Right.
physically anymore, right? I'm overwhelmed. And like, dude, this is what I love about my show. I am 100% honest with my guests, with my audience. Like, I am just overwhelmed right now. It's
Mm.
like, I feel like I'm in that spaceship where all the stars, like Star Wars, and all the stars are coming at me. And I just can't, I just like literally, I just feel like I can't do much else.
Hmm.
Right. And there has to be that
Yeah.
reset. But for me, like, pouring into Sean is going to make me better for my children and for my wife. So those people out there that want to sacrifice or be that martyr for their significant other or your children, like you're hurting
Yeah,
them. Like you are not helping them. You are hurting them because you are showing them that they do not need to value themselves
totally.
first.
Exactly. Mhm.
And what do we tell our children? Know your
Right.
worth. You see all over social media, know your worth, girl. Hey, bro, know what you're worth. Well, if you're not pouring into yourself and you're not acknowledging it, how the hell are you going to know what your
Yeah.
worth is?
Yep, exactly.
Like it's just, I don't
It's true.
know, tangent, but it's funny because you said something else about, the
Mhm.
motivation. It's funny because like mindset and mental performance is something that I'm all about, obviously. And everybody talks about you need to feel motivated to do something. I don't think that's true,
Mhm.
right? I don't think in order for people to do something and
Right.
move, right? So the new year, they want to be fit. Let's talk
Mhm.
about that. That's the biggest one out there is the new year. Now they're motivated to move, right? So they get there and it just sucks. They don't like it. They
Right.
quit. What people fail to realize is that motivation is the thing that comes after you've already
Yeah.
started.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to create that momentum. You have to create that
Correct.
motivation. I'm not motivated to wake up tomorrow and go back to the gym. Actually, I'm dreading it, but I know I have to because I'm well enough to now,
Right.
right? I told you before we record, I've been battling COVID for a
Mhm.
week, but I'm going to get up and I'm going to go, even if it's just going to the gym and walking on the treadmill for
Right.
40 minutes. I'm going to go. I'm going to
Yeah.
go. I don't want to, but that move right
Mhm.
there, and then maybe followed up with a good post workout
Right.
meal and then another good meal and another meal, and you stack up those W's, that's where the motivation
Absolutely.
comes. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts
I
on that?
agree with you on that. I definitely agree with you. I mean, I think your motivation comes from creating the discipline. Something else I was going to
Mhm.
say, so many people, they either say they can't work out in the morning or, they can't get up, and I'm like, I mean, 10 years ago, yes, I started working out in the morning. And
Mhm.
I even taught spin classes at 5:45 in the morning. And now, like, yeah, I'm a morning person. I like the morning time to do my workouts because I know if I schedule a workout in the evening, hey, what did I tell you when I got on here? I'm tired. I don't want to go to the
Yeah.
gym. I did to go to the gym in the evenings for a long time, but
Mhm.
I'm like, I'm tired. And I feel like when I move my body in the morning, that immediately, like, I'm going to eat something healthy after moving my body. Like, I'm not going to eat a French
Yeah.
toast or a donut. I mean, unless I
Mhm.
like forgot to eat and I'm running around or something, but it's still like I am more disciplined and motivated to continue my health journey when I start out with a healthy practice. And it may not be, maybe
Yeah.
it's not moving your body in the morning or going to the gym or whatever. Maybe it is just meditating and just being with yourself.
Yeah.
But as long as you are pouring into yourself first thing in the morning, I think it does really set the tone for the rest of the day. Granted, you're going to get sidetracked. Something could, come up and, totally throw you off of things.
It's
But for the
yeah.
most part,
I
I
I'm
think, yeah, I do agree with you in the sense of like the motivation comes from actually creating the discipline to make things
yeah.
happen.
I I myself, I will not go to the gym at night
Yeah.
either. I mean,
So
it
hard.
there's too many people there.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's too many people, and I'm exhausted. I wanna hang out with my family
Mhm.
at night, you know what I mean? So, it's like, if I don't do it in the morning, I ain't
Yeah.
going,
Totally.
because if I go during the day, that means I'm not working,
Right.
right? And so that's we're in outside sales. I mean, there could be a little bit of that here
Yeah,
and
for
there, right?
sure.
But I mean, it's gotta be few and far between, right? You create those moments to where you can break away at lunchtime,
Mhm.
which wouldn't be a bad practice, to do a lunchtime
Yeah.
workout wherever you're at, throw your scrubs back on and go out there in the field.
Exactly.
That's fine, like whatever works. But I just think it's super important for us to understand that. And again, this is something that, I wanted to bring up. People are going to social media
Yeah.
too often to, how can I put this? They're going to social media to make up how they feel about
Yeah.
themselves. They're waiting for one of these big influencers to tell them that if they don't do X, Y, and Z, that they aren't, they're not crap.
Mm,
Like I think we've gotten out of hand
yeah.
here, right? I think we've really lost touch. I mean, there's entrepreneurs out there saying, if you don't have six pack abs, I'm going to fire
Right.
you. Like, what do like? It's almost disgusting. So you know, It's really hard, and I know you deal with this when you're working with your clients, because you get someone that's brand new to this space, right? And they want to get better, but they see everything that goes on like Facebook or Instagram telling them what time they should wake up.
Right.
Like, if you don't wake up at 2:45, you don't want it bad
Right.
enough.
Right. No.
So, how do you instruct your clients? How do you mentor your clients that are having a hard time, adjusting to what's real and then what's on Instagram?
Good question. I tell them to stop consuming stuff on Instagram. The most part. I'm like, hey, if you put away your phone for like 24 hours, I bet like your
Yeah.
whole like nervous system will like be more grounded. Like you will actually feel better
Mhm.
if you take a detox, because you are consuming all this information that is your subconscious is picking up. It's running 95% of us is running on autopilot from our subconscious mind. So we are consuming unconsciously all this information that is actually creating all these insecurities and fears and limiting beliefs too, and these
Mm.
stories about ourselves that we're not worth it, or we're doing something wrong, or we should be doing this, or we're supposed to be doing this, or we whatever. And it's like, if we could just take a break, I think it is so healthy for our mental health. But in that regard too, it's just helping them to identify, hey, you know what? A lot of people aren't really showing like you're not seeing their life on
Mhm.
social media. They are posting the highlight reels, and yeah, you are going to get those ones that are vulnerable and they'll be crying on their Instagram, like myself. I do that. We're
Mhm.
showing things that are against the trends. For one, I don't do this all the time, but I will go on there and I point out that I have wrinkles in my forehead. Every girl in America doesn't have wrinkles
Mhm.
in her forehead anymore. We're like, you were 40, you were supposed to have wrinkles in your forehead, ladies. Sorry,
It's
but
supposed
you're
to be that
supposed to
way.
have wrinkles. It's okay. It's a natural part of life. We're okay.
Oh
And there's
god.
just so many, which is fine. If you do Botox and all the things, do it.
Mhm.
But I want people to remember what real is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's so funny. You're talking about wrinkles, and yeah, I've got wrinkles. I'm 45. I think I'm 45. I might be 46. I don't know. I forget how old I am. That's really sad, isn't it? I think I'm 45, dude. I think I'm 45. So it's funny because my son, he's 10, and I'll sit down on the couch, and I wear a hat a lot, right? And he comes up over me and goes, "Oh my god, Dad, you're balding." I'm like, "Whatever, man. Whatever." Because I don't think I am. That joker took a picture of the top of my head, took my phone. I'm like, "Oh boy, I'm getting old, man. This is like real. This is real." Um, I wanna back up to something because I thought it was powerful. We've talked about limiting beliefs a little bit. It's come up, like, some words, but, like, what is your limiting belief, and where did it come from, and maybe from who?
A lot came from my childhood. I mean,
Mhm.
most of it. So between the ages of like 0 and 7, 0 and 8, that's when our subconscious is wide open because we haven't formed our conscious mind yet. So a lot of things. That's when they say children soak up things like a sponge. It is literally like
Mhm.
that because they have no other choice, and we don't have the reasoning mind yet. Um, so we're picking up on stories. We're seeing things on television, out in the public. What our parents are telling us, how we're watching our parents interact with each other. Like, what does love mean between your parents? If your parents are
Mhm.
arguing all the time, but then they stay together for 30 years, it's like, oh, love must mean arguing. Love must mean this. And then you're like attracting very similar behaviors as well. I read this book. It's called Getting the Relationship You Want. It's a therapy book. But they
Mhm.
teach about the imago therapy, and it is basically helping you to identify with your partner, like feeling more safe and heard and seen with your partner. But
Mhm.
basically what the book was saying is that we have like a blueprint in this, in energetically and in our subconscious, because of, again, everything that we saw and whatnot and consumed. We basically have this like blueprint that we attract our parents. Oftentimes, 9 times out of
Mhm.
10, we are attracting that. And let's say you're like, God, I hope I'm never, I hope to God I'm not like my dad. I hope to God I'm never like my mom. You're probably going to attract a partner who's just like your mom or just like your dad because you
Yeah.
haven't done
Yeah.
the reprogramming and affirmations, whatever it is, like you actually haven't rewired that energetic component in you to
Yeah.
attract different. So, and a lot of that goes to actually reparenting yourself and doing a lot of inner child work. And then you can start.
The inner child work that's interesting because like I can sit here and I can tell you the
Hmm.
thoughts or what I heard from, 5 to
Yeah,
8.
same.
What are some of the things that you heard, in your own mind from 5 to 8 that made up those limiting
Yeah,
beliefs?
I think a lot of it was probably more so like, I mean, what stands out, and maybe it's just because I've brought more awareness of this, but like money mindset stuff, like money doesn't grow on trees,
Mhm.
like,
Yep.
or,
Yep.
when you're watching a show and or you see someone in public that's like really, really wealthy, like very
Mhm.
wealthy, and maybe a parent said something about it, like, oh, they're just showing off. They just say something very critical or judgmental. And then so your subconscious mind as a 5-year-old takes that, oh, rich people are flaunting their stuff. Like, oh, they're just showing
Mm.
off their money or what, and it's like, that's not true. There's a lot of very wealthy people that look like they just rolled out of bed but you would never know they had a lot of money.
You would never know. You would
Never
literally never
know. You
know.
would
It's so funny because, like for me, it was not good enough,
never know. Right.
right? It was
Well, yeah, that's the big
if
one.
you
Yes.
don't yeah, I mean, that was just rang
Yeah.
constantly, right? And I still hear that when it comes time to perform, I have to put myself in a completely different
Hmm.
space, right? And even when I started this show, it's like, who are you, dude?
Yeah.
Like, who are you, right? Who are you to do this?
Mhm.
And there was a lot of, people that I asked to be on my show, bigger influencers that came at me for that,
Mhm.
right? And they said they would eat me alive on my show and that I wasn't anything. And here we are, a couple years later
Mm.
and no marketing, no strategy, but top 2.5%
That's
globally.
amazing. Yeah.
It's
Yes.
tenacity, right? It's the grind, it's the work, it's the amazing guests like yourself and the open and free conversations is what makes this
Yes.
show. So I always have to dive into when I'm feeling poor like that or feeling in that broke mindset of I'm not good enough. I'll go back and listen to my shows
Yeah.
now
Good for you.
and close my eyes, lay down and put myself in a place where I don't know who I am, I don't know where I'm at.
Mm.
And there have been multiple times where I've got done with one of my shows. I'm like, wow, that dude was smart.
Yeah.
And it was me.
Yeah.
I completely detached myself from the interview. Right.
Oh,
So, for how do you work people through those limiting beliefs, especially the inner child? I mean,
yeah.
that is
It is
tough.
tough. It is tough. Yeah, before I answer that, I will say so I want to say that that's more of like almost like this like secret limit, the sneaky limiting belief that I am not enough, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
and I want to say that it is again 9 times out of 10 that is the limiting belief that everybody has about them,
Mhm.
and that's why it is showing up. Oh, I'm falling off the wagon with my health. I can't seem to like have a relationship, like, but like whatever the case may be. And it's like when we get down and we like just unwind and like peel back the layers, it always comes to, well, I didn't feel enough, or I was always
Mhm.
competing for something, competing for my parents' approval growing up, or, whether it was that they were the single child. And so they were like singled out and their parents, laid into them. Like, you need to make straight A's and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, they were always
Mm.
trying to prove themselves because otherwise they felt not enough. Or on the flip side, maybe they were competing for sibling rivalry, that kind of thing as well. There's a lot of that. Um, for me, something that was discovered a year ago working with a coach, we kind of started peeling back my onion layers. And I do have a sister. And so the coach was asking me, she was like, were you competing for your sister's attention, with your sister for attention from your parents? And I was like, no,
Mhm.
I never felt that way at all. But what came down to it, I was like, I did sports. I was on the cheerleading team. I did homecoming. I was prom queen. Like, I was in acting. Like, I did things. And she was like, okay, let's lean into that more. She was like, what happened, when you're, and I said, well, I was seen. I was seen.
Mm.
People knew who I was because I was this, and this. And so, like I said, these last few years since the show, I felt just as of recently, probably more like myself. Whereas the last 3 years, I have felt so just wishy washy and all over the place. And I want to say that it's because that storyline of I'm not enough kept popping up. Like, you have the
Mm.
world like hating on you, and you're like, but you don't even know the real me. Like, I'm like, I need to be seen. Oh, well, maybe if I do this, then they'll see me. Maybe if I say this, then they'll know who I am. And so it was very like everything that I was doing was running on conditions versus
Hmm.
you're born worthy and you are enough because you're enough. Not you have to
Yeah.
do something to be enough, or you have to be seen to be enough and be more valued in people's eyes. So I feel like just having that, my own testimony of that, I can really speak to and help other people identify what they're not enough miss. So like what story
Hmm.
came from that.
Yeah, I get that because I can seek outside approval,
Mhm.
right? It's about being seen, but for me, it's men
Mhm.
because I felt like because my biological father left when I was
Mm.
2, right? Then my mom remarried, and it lasted for like a hot minute, and then she remarried again to, um, my stepdad, who was a part of my life from the time I was 8, 7.5, 8, all the way
Mm.
through. We don't speak now. That's by choice, but I always felt like I wasn't enough because I was always disappointing
Yeah.
men. So when men challenge me, I just, it's really
Mhm.
strange, right? Because I mean, I'm pretty confident, but at the same time, like disappointing a male figure terrifies
Yeah.
me. It's so strange, and that's my opportunity for
Mhm.
growth. And I've the last year or two, I've really started to dive into it really
Awesome.
hardcore, getting to the bottom of it and trying not to give a shit, to be quite
Yeah.
honest. Like, because if I'm going to disappoint people, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not perfect. And I think that for me, not feeling enough and feeling like I had to chase that
Right.
perfection was just an open in loop that would keep
Yeah.
playing, and just disappointment and disappointment and disappointment to a point where, like, if I'm even in that mindset, how can I ever be proud of myself?
Exactly. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? What now go back to, so you're talking about like the whole world hating on you. What's the worst thing that you saw? Like, what is the worst thing that anybody ever said to you that just broke you?
Um, I think it wasn't necessarily that what well, I mean, yes, it was bad what they were saying, but I think it was just the quantity, the volume of receiving. Like
Mhm.
if it was just one message, it wouldn't have been a big deal. But like, because I'm like, I don't know these people, they don't know me. But
Yeah.
it was like it hit my "you're not enough" button, let's put it that way, because they
Mhm.
would say things,
Yeah.
I mean, I did get, like, some people like, "You're gonna like, you should die, bitch, you're gonna die al" like,
Oh my
yeah, like, "You're
god.
gonna die alone, like, he's so much better off without you, like, you know, you played him and then blah, 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 like, you just played him, you just wanted to get clout for TV, blah, blah, blah," but I think it was,
Mm.
more of the, like, he's better off without you. And I'm like,
Yeah.
F you,
That
like, you don't even
yeah.
know me.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
we weren't meant to be. That's the bottom
Mhm.
line, like we
Right.
we
Sure.
actually did have a relationship and it was
Mhm.
cut short and not
Yeah.
by TV and production, by human choices. And,
Mhm.
so that I think was the biggest thing, just receiving those. And I still get it. Like every time a new season comes out, I'll get like one message because people will go back and watch the show, or it's new people watching the show and they'll start from season one. And I'll get those random messages and they're like, oh, he's better. Girl, he's already moved on with his life. Like you should too. And blah, blah. I'm like, all right, guys, I have.
You're like, "Dude, that was like 5
Yeah,
years
I'm
ago." Like,
like,
I don't
I
even like I'm not
have,
even
and I'm happy for him, and I'm like, love her to death. Like, she's like the sweetest. His wife is so nice. I'm just like,
Mhm.
but yeah, that I think just receiving so many messages like he's better off without you. Like,
Yeah.
like he dodged a bullet with you, and I'm like, ah,
Ouch.
no, I don't think so. I mean, yeah,
Here's another question. Like, I'm like listening to this. Like, it's one thing to get these messages, right? But did it impact the way you operated in public?
Yeah.
because
Oh.
you don't know if people
Oh, for
recognize you.
sure. Yeah. I still, not as much, but I do. I mean, yeah. I mean, granted, COVID happened when our show aired, so we weren't out
Mhm.
in public too much for that first year, but,
Yeah.
or for that first 6 months, let's put it that way. After that, yeah. Like, I mean, and even still to this day, like, it did create social anxiety for me.
Mhm.
Because yeah, I'm like, people are looking at me and this sounds egotistical, but I'm like, are people looking at me? Do they know me? Like, are
Mhm.
there people that
Mhm.
recognize me? And when I would catch someone looking at me, I'm like, okay, are they looking at me because they just saw me on TV, or are they looking at me because they think I'm cute, or are they looking at me because I'm wearing
Mhm.
something weird? Like, so it was actually a lot of social anxiety. And again,
Yeah.
now, like when I go places, I'm kind of scanning the room, like, and it
Yeah.
feels almost anxiety, but also ego, like, oh, who recognizes me? Like,
Yeah,
I
but I
like
mean, like,
being
at the same time,
recognized.
it's
I
like,
love being recognized. I'm like, give me
of
attention.
course. No, of course. I mean, like, when I go out in public and, I've never been on a, you know, reality TV show, but I mean, I've interviewed a lot of
Yeah.
people and I am out there on the internet and, people do come up to me and they go, "Hey, you're the
You're the
guy.
guy.
You're the guy." I'm like, "I'm not. Huh? Like, love your content." I'm like, "Thanks. I appreciate that." But I mean, in your case, I can absolutely see going into a public
Yeah.
place, especially like at a nightclub or something. My daughter's
Aw.
waving at me. "Hi,
Aw.
baby. Good to see
Mhm.
you. Good to see you." She's got face paint like she's Rudolph right now.
Aw,
It's the
so
cutest thing
cute.
ever. It's cute. She's talking now. "Do you wanna come say hi?" "Okay, come
Come say
on. My little one's gonna make a
hi.
podcast appearance."
Alright.
"Okay, you gotta say hi. Say hi to Kelly.
Hi. You look so cute.
Say thank you. Alright, go with mom, okay? Give me a kiss."
Oh yeah, oh
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
So, but no, because like, looking around, like, when you're going into public, right, it's like and the way people came at
Yeah.
you, like, to me, like, it would be terrifying. I can completely understand how you would get social
Yeah, yeah.
anxiety,
I
you
didn't think
know?
my life was in danger or anything like that. I just, so I didn't have
Well, that's
I never
good.
had the social anxiety, like I thought my life was threatened. It was just like
Yeah,
weird because I'm like, people do recognize me, and
yeah.
it's funny, like even in my career now, I'm out meeting people, and I've had
Mhm.
multiple people, even in the last week, they're like, you look really familiar. And I had to say it yesterday. I was like, did you watch a show called Love Is Blind? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, I'm D Kelly and they're like, oh my
Yeah.
God. They're like, that's exactly how I know you. So
Goodness gracious. Yeah, I'm that
oh my
girl.
girl,
That's
that's me.
me. That's me. That's
I'm like,
me.
I remember
Ooh.
faces so well. So I'm like, I know I've never met these people. I know that that's where it's from.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, I'm a pretty good face person
Yeah.
too. I can my facial recognition, I'm like, "Yeah, I know who that person is." If I see somebody once, I'll remember
Yeah.
that face,
Yeah.
right? Like, it never goes away. I might forget a name or 2, but I'll
Exactly.
never forget a face. But look, we're winding down. We need to land the plane here. I just wanna thank you
Yeah.
so much for coming onto the show, and I think that well, I know what my listeners got is, a peek behind the curtain to Kelly Chase and the things that you dealt with before the show and then even after Love is Blind aired. But what would you say to somebody right now that is going through just to land the plane here? What's the one piece of advice you would give somebody that is going through something similar that just feels that no matter where they turn, doors are being shut in their face and that I'm not good enough or you can't do it program keeps popping up on their
Yeah.
feed?
Tune into yourself as much as you can.
Mhm.
Create that, even if it's moving your body for 3 minutes, just do
Mhm.
really like self care, like even write out so that you have radical awareness of this. Like, what did you like to do when you were a child? Did you like to draw? Did you like to paint, play hopscotch, whatever it is? Go to Target, get some chalk, and go play hopscotch. Like, literally, go do the things that you did when you were younger. Dance in your living room, make a fort with your pillow and your couch. Like, go do the things that you did when you were a child, because when you were a child, you didn't have too much going on. Like, yeah, you're
Mhm.
consuming a lot of the stuff, and that's where all the stories are coming from. But if you can get like connect back to your childlike self and your playfulness, and really start to just take care of yourself, go get a massage, like go sit in nature, go for a walk in nature, really disconnect from your phone as much as possible. and really create like a little self-care routine for yourself. And it could be 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be like 3 hours. But the longer of that, the more of that you are with yourself, the less you will consume and be feeling inferior or like an imposter or just have any fears altogether. And that anxiety really is going to decrease once you start tuning into yourself, because
Mm.
you're really like, when you're doing so much for you, you're really crowding out the things that just don't matter.
Dude, I love it. I can just see building forts now.
Yeah,
Like
let's
that's like what I got. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta build a fort, man. I gotta build a fort. But listen, thank you so much, Kelly. I'm really jacked up to have this connection with you in this conversation. Just thank you for taking time out of your night and pouring into my audience. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys too.
All right, guys. Until next time, stay determined and go chase your dreams, y'all. Peace out. Southwest Florida is one of the most beautiful places on the planet to live. For those of you that are thinking of moving from other states to come to Florida, or even just moving to a different part of the state, I want you to think of a big, beautiful luxury home. Contact Legacy Luxury Builders. They are a family-owned and operated luxury residential construction company. As a family-owned business, they believe in the power of building not just homes, but legacies. Contact Legacy Luxury Builders. The nightmare of feeling like you'll never measure up, of constant second guessing and self-doubt. It eats away at you and destroys your confidence. I've been there too, feeling like I didn't belong on the field with my teammates, but it doesn't have to stay that way. I used to compare myself to everyone around me. I thought that no matter how hard I worked, I'd never be as good as the other guys. It killed my self-belief. I now help athletes develop an elite mindset so comparison no longer controls them. We teach techniques to cut out the negative self-talk and unlock your full potential. Imagine stepping into the box when it counts the most and feeling totally confident in your ability. Feeling invincible instead of insecure, ready to seize the opportunity instead of shrinking from it. That's the mindset I help athletes develop. Don't waste another minute on comparison and self-doubt. Take control of your mindset and become the confident, unstoppable competitor you are meant to be. DM or comment below to get started with Edge and transform your mental game.